What's up everybody, it's Jay here, and today I want to talk about trans day of visibility. For trans day of visibility, I wanted to talk just a little bit about visibility itself. I wanted to just discuss some things about visibility, because I think visibility is really important, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about how visibility has impacted me, how I have engaged in different types of visibility. So, first of all, I wanted to talk about who was the first trans person that I knew of or was aware of. The first time I cognizantly remember knowing a trans person, like in any capacity, was I used to be on a like forum for teenagers when I was about 13, and I had like a gay and lesbian section that I had looked in quite a bit because I considered myself bi at the time. And I saw a guy posting about being FTM, and I was like, okay, I don't know what that means. And I ended up reading through all of the stuff he had written, and he was talking about, like, he had a binder, he was going to start T, he wanted to have top surgery when he was older, and it kind of floored me because I had not thought about any of this kind of stuff before. I hadn't really, I hadn't really known that like being a trans man was a thing you could do. I wasn't aware of it, so I was just kind of shocked when I read it, and it kind of really hit me quite hard. And that is really what made me realize that I was trans, because I related so much to what this guy was saying. I really understood what he was saying and where he was coming from, and that kind of really just kind of hammered it home for me. Like, I was trans, I am trans, and that's just how it is. And to think that like that one guy posting that one thread on that one forum at that point in time is what made me realize I was trans and probably brought me to where I am today is really ridiculous to think about. Like, it's really just a lot to think about. The first trans person that I met is very soon after that, when I was about 14. I was in secondary school. We had an LGBT group in our secondary school. Obviously, for like anonymity purposes, I'm not going to say where I went to school or like who this person was, because I don't know if they would want that information out there. But I was in secondary school, and there was another trans guy in the school. I vaguely knew him because like he knew someone that I knew, kind of like a chain going on, but I wasn't out yet. And I went to the LGBT group, and afterwards I stayed back and I wanted to talk to the teacher who was running it, and I kind of said to her like, oh, like, I'm trans, blah blah blah, and like most of it was crying, like totally most of what I was doing was crying. But like she was really good, she was really supportive, and she ended up like linking me in with the other guy. He did go to the group as well, but like I just didn't know him well enough to kind of say like, oh, I need to talk to you about this. But she was like asking him, oh, you talk to Jay about this, because like I can't really do much. And so like I had a really long conversation with him one day about like just being trans, and like a lot of the stuff he was talking about, like he was talking about like his own experience and like asking me about what's been going on for me, and like I had been I had been talking about like, you know, what am I meant to do and stuff like that, and he kind of like pointed me to like some stuff that would be really helpful for me to like understand, and like it was really beneficial at the time. Like, it was such a small thing for someone to do, to like just have a conversation, but it was still like so meaningful for me at the time, because I had never met anyone else who had anywhere near the same experience as me. I only knew about people online who had kind of similar experiences. But in the end, like, he's not somebody I talk to anymore, not on purpose or anything, but just because he's a bit older than me and we kind of lost touch. But like, that was a huge impact on my life at that time. That made a huge difference to me. So then I was trying to think about the first person who was trans I saw like in TV or on movies and stuff like that. And it's kind of hard for me to think of that, because like those other two experiences that I just talked about were so much more meaningful for me than any like media representation that I've experienced. They were so much more important. So like I was struggling to think. And then I realized like the first trans person I saw represented on TV was absolutely on Glee, and it was absolutely bad. So that's something. But some of the trans representation I've seen since, specifically of trans masculine people, that I thought was really good was the Fosters have really good trans masculine representation. The OA had good trans masculine representation. I'm trying to think of what else has had good trans mass representation. It's a small pool. I know a lot of people have been happy with like the new L words trans representation. And I think that like in reality I prefer it's not that I prefer it, but that I tend to gravitate more towards like trans mass content on YouTube than I do like trans mass representation in like TV or movies. Like I'm just more interested in like not the representation but the actual content about being trans. Um so what impact do I feel like trans visibility has? Well, for me it's been really impactful. Like seeing other trans people, seeing other real people who are like me has made a difference in my life. But it has been more about like seeing those people as peers rather than seeing those people as kind of role models in like TV or movies. But at the same time, like having those characters in TV and movies makes like your experience feel so much more real a lot of the time, and it makes your life seem like it's worth showing on like TV. It makes you feel like your story is worth telling to people, and I think that that's a valuable thing. I think it is especially impactful for younger trans people who maybe don't have that in-person like visibility that I've had, and maybe feel very disconnected and really need that kind of like TV representation to understand like their identity and to feel reflected. And I think it's important for everyone to feel reflected in the media that they watch. It's important for everyone to feel like there are characters out there who are at least somewhat like them, and I think that trans representation can do that for people, and it can be really valuable. I also kind of want to touch on how I have used trans visibility, because obviously I have this channel, and that's not the only way in which I choose to be visible as a trans person. I've had a lot of involvement with Belong To, who are like the LGBT youth service in Ireland, and through that I've had a lot of visibility both within the trans spaces that I've engaged in and also like in wider spaces. Like I have been on the news, I have been talking on the main stage of Pride, I have been in all sorts of situations like that where I have been very openly, purposefully standing up and saying, I am trans, this is my experience, this is what's happening. And I think that that's a really valuable thing to be able to do. I understand that that's a privilege to have, that I can do that, and I don't feel afraid doing that, and that I have like my family supporting me in doing that. But I think that I know that my being visible has had meaning for other people, because I have had people tell me that. I've had people tell me that they find that the visibility I have purposefully put out there has been very positive for them, that it has been very beneficial for them, that they felt either like inspired or like I'm some kind of role model to aspire to. And let's be realistic, I don't know how to reply to that, because it's so flattering to hear someone say that about you. It's so flattering to hear someone say something that nice about you. But at the end of the day, like that's part of why I've made these videos. That's part of why I've been involved. I know that at the end of the day, like I can come home to a family who have funded my transition and respect my pronouns and support me being trans, and that other people don't get that, and that other people don't have that security. So I should use it as much as I can to make other people's lives better. And I encourage anybody who has that option or wants to do that to do it, because it's valuable, it's rewarding, and you know you're making an impact on other people's lives. That is all I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please do click the like button down below. The comment section is absolutely open if you have any questions or something you want to say. I don't know, go for it. And please do subscribe if you want more content with this face like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.